children of the night. What music they make. They're gonna laugh at you.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you open.
Hello, horror freaks. Welcome back to Final Guys, your favorite horror podcast, and perhaps the most exotic of horror podcasts. Because this week we're going to delve all the way to India to watch a horror movie. But before we get to that, let me talk. I'm Jack. Let me introduce my friends here, Hunter and Jason. Hello, fellas.
What's up, sexy?
How's it going?
Oh, it's good.
I'm wearing my new Elvira t-shirt, so I'm feeling sexy.
Oh,
What do you think?
stand up a little bit so we can
There
see.
we go.
Oh, I think your boobs are bigger than hers.
You fill that out nicely.
I'm wearing tidy whities and I'm smuggling plums.
This week, Jason suggested that we watch.
Mm-mm.
Hopefully, I'm pronouncing this correctly. Tumbbad.
This was my suggestion, I think.
Yeah,
This is
that was
mine.
not me.
Oh, it was Hunter. Jack doesn't read who sends the email; he just reads the email. An Indian horror movie.
We've never done one before.
No, we have not. Typically, there's a reason we don't do Indian films here.
And the key here was on Amazon Prime, which made me say, okay, we could do that.
It's very easy to convince you guys to do something if it's free.
Yeah, exactly. If you told me this was in theaters, I'd have been like, how can I not be in this but still have it go up?
Just would have said, no, we're not doing it.
But before we get to that, we'll do a little horror news, then we'll go through a couple of things we watched. But we also have this crazy chat room, and they have a drinking game. Drinking whenever we say certain words, so who's got the drinking words of the week?
I got the words. Want me to read the words?
Would you read the words, please?
Okay. Jack, when you says these words, greedy, dark place, another name for your anus, people listening must drink. When I say, oh God, red coin kids, I would love to just say that. If I could find a way to say that just together. Drink. Jason, when you say Indian Temple Doom, maybe we
No
should put
time for
olives in
love,
there.
Dr. Jones.
And bonus CGI, gold, and Oscars, as in fuck the Oscars. You all can drink. So there we go.
So you're a fan?
Hunter, I will
I'm not
give
a
you
fan
a
of
reason.
any award show.
I will give you a reason to watch the Oscars later in this very show.
Okay.
I will give you something, a redeeming thing from the Oscars.
So I always said even if I was up for an Oscar, I wouldn't go.
Well, I would
You
go
are
for that.
You are Oscar the Grouch.
I got better things to do.
Before we jump into the news, I want to say we got a ton of new reviews up on the site. I forgot to mention it last week, but Pam Morris has sent us reviews. Sheridan sent us reviews. Steve Barnard. I mean, we've got a freaking ton of them that are
Steve
going up.
Spoiler Barnard.
That's correct. I put spoiler tags in if it goes too far. Don't worry. But if you're looking for something to watch, ton of good stuff going up there. So I appreciate everyone sending everything in.
That's awesome. Thank you, peeps.
All right. So with that, I got actually really good news this week. So, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, there is going to be season 2 of The Haunting of Hill House,
Excellent.
and it's going to be called The Haunting of Bly Manor. So it's going to be a completely different story. So they're going anthology with the series.
Good choice.
Captain Bly.
Captain Bly. It's based on, similarly, it's based on another book.
Is our boy doing it?
I guess the book was The Turn of the Screw,
Oh,
Henry James novella.
yeah.
Hunter, you're the reader. What's that about?
It's a screw. When you turn the screw, people get scared. It's a ghost story.
Oh, really?
Oh,
It's,
thanks for telling us that the topic for the Haunting series was a ghost story.
There was a movie adaptation of it. I think it's The Innocents from the 60s, which is really good. It's
Very
a thing.
good.
It's a haunted house with creepy kids.
Okay.
Can't beat that. Creepy British kids. There's nothing freakier in the world than creepy British kids.
Yes. So anyway, I thought that was great news because I really didn't want them to go back to the same house. I
No.
felt like that story was done. let's move on to something different. But I like the people who put together that.
Is Flanagan doing the second season?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in 100%.
Yeah, there we go. Me too.
That guy's just
Flanagan-
hitting grand slams.
He has signed like a big deal with Netflix, so he's going to be putting out a whole bunch of stuff with them.
Nice. That perfect. Saves me money. Actually,
Right.
use my Netflix subscription for once.
Right?
I really don't use it since I subscribed for Shudder. I barely log into Netflix. It's kind of
Really?
crazy. Yeah, I use Shudder way more.
Well, it's more. That's more in tune with us.
That's correct. And if you use the web interface, you can actually find a ton of movies on there that you can't really find through the Amazon interface because
No way.
they have a ton of freaking movies, but you just can't find them through the Amazon stuff.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that from now on.
Anyway,
My next piece of news. A Quiet Place 2 is moving forward, and John Krasinski is officially going to direct it. Now, while he has said in the past that the idea he had for a sequel would focus primarily on new characters, news is that Emily Blunt will be back. So I think that is the studio saying, we've got Emily Blunt, we're going to use her.
Yeah.
So, I trust
Well,
him.
They can defeat the aliens with the radios waves or whatever.
yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe they go the aliens route. I don't know. I don't know if that would work, but I don't know. Whatever. I'm
Maybe
with you,
they-
Jack. I trust him. Do your thing.
Maybe the aliens end up working at a paper company. And it becomes a comedy.
Unlike this,
Are you
unlike
okay?
this podcast,
It was like a tire losing a little air there.
I had no idea how to respond to you there.
I made you speechless. I made you make a weird
Well,
sound.
that was me saying shh, like be quiet. Like just
Oh,
stop.
don't you dare. Don't you shush me.
I need to drink faster.
All right, Jack Krasinski.
the last piece of news is awesome. You ready? Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Yep.
Shudder is releasing podcasts.
Oh, I heard about that.
One of them is going to be hosted by Antonio Bay's own Adrienne Barbeau.
Stevie Wayne. We will finally get to hear her.
Okay.
It's going to be called She Kills, 10 episodes. Among the guests, Barbara Crampton, Jennifer Tilly, Dee Wallace, Karen Kusama. I don't know who that is. I am so excited about that.
So it's like a serial kind of thing?
It sounds like it's a limited run podcast. So you ever see the one like Making of Jaws 1 or the
Okay, yeah.
those kind of things.
Inside Jaws.
Another one, Eli Roth's History of Horror Uncut, which is going to, I think, be hosted by somebody else and then probably play interviews of Eli. Did you watch this series of his History of Horror on AMC?
Not yet. It just went on Shudder though, so hopefully I'll get
It's
to
pretty
watch it
good.
this week.
It's pretty good.
I don't want the uncut. I want the circumcised.
You could do that.
I'm going to just keep saying stuff till Jason wants to just end the podcast.
Thinking about it now, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
All the listeners already have.
Yeah, why not?
Finally, the last of the Shudder podcasts, hosted by Elijah Wood and Daniel Noah, called Visitations. I have no idea what this one's about, but Elijah Wood is a horror guy. I'm down.
Yeah. No, I was psyched when I saw that like the other day. Adrian Barbeau alone, I'm in.
I just like that they're able to make all this content now. That's pretty great. I just hope it means they're not going to freaking raise our subscription fees because I will lose.
Well,
my
the
mind.
podcast will be on iTunes and stuff, so if that shouldn't affect.
Oh, it's not
Shudder-
just going to be through their okay. All right.
But nobody's getting Shutter subscriptions for $5 in a year from now. No way.
I hope that. Not the
I don't know
case.
though. It's a niche thing. If they start going up with it,
But it has to. They're getting traction, but you need money to
Got to pay Joe Bob's
acquire
giant
these things.
salary.
For that big set.
5x5 set they gave him.
Yeah.
what are some horror podcasts besides us, of course, that you like?
I think
Well,
Shockwaves is the tits.
Yeah. I was just gonna say Shockwaves
Bloody Good Horror.
and Bloody Good Horror. Those are two I listen to every episode. I don't miss an
The
episode.
guys who do the horror show is good.
Yes. There's
Tim
a few-
Meyer's got a good show. They cover quite a bit of horror.
Yeah. And Armand Rosamilia. There's a lot. Project Entertainment Network has a ton of horror podcasts.
Yeah, particularly if you want book stuff, that's the way to go. But
Mhm.
if you want the best, you're already here. So just saying.
No
Maybe
need to stray.
leave us a review. You know.
I listen to one called The Corpse Club. They're good.
I haven't heard of that one.
Well, you should. Now you have.
Okay.
And when is that show, How the Fuck Did This Get Made, going to do a show about our show?
How Did This Get Made is one of the best podcasts ever. God, I love that show. All right. That's all the news that's fit to print. With that, anything else before we go to what do we watch?
That's all I got.
Nope, not me.
All right, then what do we watch?
We have such sights to show you.
Yep, Jack.
All right.
That was like waving flags.
I'm reading what these knuckleheads are writing in the chat. Kusama directed the horror film Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
Riveting.
And what a body it was.
Quite the body. All right, Hunter, what'd you
Body of
watch?
work. Okay. I was thinking of doing an episode where I did nothing but Frank Henenlotter movies. And I said, all right, well, first I'm going to watch, because it's on either Shudder or Prime, one of those, Brain Damage, which I haven't seen in too long.
I
And
have
I
not
watched
seen that, and I've been dying to.
It is, hands down, that's his best.
Really? Okay.
You will scream laughing. It's uber gross and freaking hysterical. It's a guy who gets kind of lured by this parasite, which is this big talking knobby penis turd. It kind of looks like a combo, complete with little tiny eyes. And he's got this like nice mellifluous, I can't even say the word, whatever.
Okay.
Soothing voice. That is voiced by Zachary.
Really?
The cool ghoul.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
So he's like, hey, you want to go and have a really great life, man? Just come on and let me in. So it's this bizarre relationship between a boy and his parasite that likes to suck the brains out of people.
So it's Basket Case.
Dude,
It's what it
so much
sounds
like Basket Case, but this thing is cooler than Belial in that he has an actual personality and there's an arc to him and there's a history to him. But the best part is when this kid is riding the train and he's got the parasite hidden, and who comes on the train but the dude from Basket Case with his basket sitting right across from him.
Oh, nice.
It was so...
I gotta watch this.
I'm telling you, man, this is great shit. There's a lot of weird gore. It's all practical effects. It was so much fun. I'm telling you.
Where did you see it?
It was on. I watched it. It was either Amazon Prime or it was Shudder.
I think it's on Shudder because I've been thinking about going back to that. I don't remember anything about that movie.
Yeah, and there's another couple who's trying to get the parasite back because you kind of get what it does is his mouth opens up and then he sticks this little tube in the back of your neck and it pops into your brain. They show the inside of your brain and it just shoots this fluid like he's banging your brain, and it's like a drug and you trip out. And so kind of while you're tripping out, he's like just doing stuff to people, sucking their brains out. And it's just absolute hilarity that ensues with this. It shouldn't work at all. And it works on every level.
All right. Yeah, it's on Shudder. I just added it to my list. Looking forward
Watch
to
it.
this.
Excellent.
It's his best. I mean, it's not as dark and gritty as Basket Case, but this is just over the top fun. It's like to me, it's like Dead Alive. Like that kind of crazy.
Wow,
goofy
okay.
Fun. Yeah.
You're selling me.
Yeah. So watch that.
Cool.
Excellent. Jason, what do you got?
I finally went back and revisited Overlord. I wanted to see if it stood up as much as I loved it when I saw it in the theater.
Did you buy it or just rent it?
Oh, I bought it. I'm going to watch this movie 50 times. God, this is so good. Like, I just watching it again, I'm just blown away at how freaking good this movie is. It is absolutely going to be a staple. I have a feeling like every year, almost like The Thing, I'm probably going to go back and revisit this with someone who I'm going to find out hasn't seen it. I watched it with a buddy of mine and his wife. They hadn't seen it, and they went nuts. They just absolutely freaking loved it. And when I told my buddy who Wyatt Russell was, who his father was, he just was like, "Oh my God, it's perfect."
Yeah.
Now,
Just
you got
nails
the
it.
Blu-ray?
Yeah.
It's
Are
good.
there
It
any
just came out.
extras?
I
Any
haven't
extras
looked.
in it?
I haven't looked.
Oh, because I always, if I'm going to buy the Blu-ray, I always love to get into the extras and look at the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah. I'll look and I'll let you know. But it's just, oh man, I'm so happy that I put it at the top of my list. I don't know if it was a better made movie than Hereditary, but I'm gonna watch it way the hell more than Hereditary. It's
So,
just so
Oh
fun.
hell yeah!
On a second, well, yeah, it's definitely a more light fare. Um, second watch, anything stand out? Like, what was different about the second time? Like the second time I watched Hereditary was a great experience because it's like the second time you watched The Sixth Sense. We were going back and looking for things. What was the experience like for watching it a second time?
I don't. It definitely doesn't have that kind of background stuff going on, but
Mhm.
like I knew a lot more about the movie going in because the first time I wasn't even looking forward to it. I didn't give a shit. I was just going to watch it because we were doing it for the show. But knowing like almost every effect in it was practical, I was really paying attention to that. And you can tell the guy who's shot in the face, the very first few shots, you can see they've touched it up with CG, but most of them after that, it's just makeup effects and lighting. And it's super convincing. I appreciated the female character even more. She is super badass in this.
Yeah.
I mean, when she gets the flamethrower out, it's like, God, this movie's just screaming my name. No,
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
It's just, oh, it's such a shame. It's a modern classic came out and no one has seen it. It's just,
You know what? That's what'll make it a classic.
It's
hope
getting
so.
good traction now, though. I think it's going to be one of those ones that's kind of in the
It'll be-
conversation moving forward.
It'll be the thing.
I hope so. I really do.
The thing came and went like a popcorn fart, and now look at it.
So there you go. Like a popcorn fart, Overlord.
I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm going to roll with it.
I've sat next to you in the movies. I know, and you know what that means.
Is it something that comes and goes, though, that quickly?
Exactly. Like
I think that kind of lingers.
wafts over you. It's like a buttery fart.
Jesus Christ.
All right. I watched
Dad's getting mad. Come on, Jack, go.
Hellraiser 2 Hellbound.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
one.
Now, of the Hellraiser movies, 1 is my favorite, and I've watched it many times. 3 was on cable like 24 hours a day for like 3 years of my life. So I saw that one a million times. This one I think I only saw once, like when it came out on VHS the first time. I've never
Really?
really watched it more than once. So I remembered some of it, and some of it I was like, oh, because I started getting mixed up on which Hellraiser movie am I watching. So once I was like, oh, it's this. I forget. This is the Tim Burton version of Hellraiser at the end of this movie. It starts off like as this. I thought it was a really great sequel. Gets a lot of dark stuff going on, blood-soaked things.
Oh, the dude on the mattress.
The dude on the mattress.
Oh,
The return of the evil woman from the first one, and Clive Barker, people kissing skinless people, all sexy, bloody stuff, all that. And then this movie does a couple of really funny things. When they end up going to hell, there's some special effects that are just stop motion. It's you're like you were watching Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
It's
a fun movie.
It is a fun movie. There's like a Cenobite making machine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Ashley Lawrence. A lot of Ashley Lawrence.
And they, kind of find out where Pinhead came from and all that stuff. That's always fun. So it was fun. I'm really happy that I pulled the trigger. Now next week I'm going to try and watch the documentary about the making of it. That's on Shudder.
Oh yeah,
on the making of that, just that one.
Well, they did a 2-parter, but they only released part 1. Now part 2's out.
Oh wow!
So I'm going to watch that next week. Probably. I don't know. I'll get to it when I get to it. The urgency to watch the making of Hellraiser 2. The making of Hellraiser 1 was really worth watching. This one, I'm happy to watch it again, but it's not like I got to run to the TV to watch it. But this though, it's on Shudder, I think.
Yes, I think it is.
I didn't pay to watch it. It was whatever I watched. If you haven't seen this in a while, it's good to go back because it really. Jason, you said this recently. What they could do with a budget when they relaunch Hellraiser would be amazing. Because if you took those first 2 movies, you could actually probably make 3 movies out of the first 2 movies.
Yep.
If you wanted to, and add stuff from the books and whatever, and have a hell of a movie with that material and a budget and some better writing. But
yeah, just fixing the end of 2 with better effects would be a huge leap forward. It's still fun, but it looks like shit.
It does. That's okay.
It does, but it's a blast. So I was very happy. I just I think I popped it on Saturday morning. It's like I gotta watch it. I was like, oh shoot, I gotta watch something. So popped
I was
that
in
in.
Blockbuster last time. They were selling a 4-pack of Hellraiser 4, 5, 6, and 7. I was like, who the F would ever buy this?
Who the F would go over to the Blockbuster?
We had to go there for a phone.
There's a Blockbuster?
Did I say Blockbuster? I meant Best Buy. I always say that too.
Always.
Like,
you found the one that's still open?
I know. I always confuse those two for whatever it's a thing. But yeah, we were in Best Buy and they had a 4-pack. I'm like going, they should. I said out loud, I said, they should pay people to buy this piece of shit. And the guy next to me just started cracking up.
There's the later Hellraiser movies that every so often I'm like looking for something to watch. I'm like, maybe I'll watch one of these Hellraiser movies. And then I can never bring myself to hit play. It's like, they're so bad.
There's just no reason.
I think I mentioned before, I've been considering going back and watching all of them and just doing one each week. And by the end, I'll just kill myself on air. They get so bad.
Yeah, they're rotten. That last one that was on Netflix was just.
I haven't even seen it.
That's hell. We're in hell when we watch those movies.
So I watched that. Hunter, what do you got? Anything else?
Yeah, I watched 2 great movies. I'll talk about the first one, Slumber Party Massacre.
That should have been our featured movie.
Which, you know what? It should have. That title is what inspired Swamp Monster Massacre, by the way.
So glad you got it in there.
Can't go a week without Swampy.
Should have done Swamp Monster Slumber Party.
Swamp Ass Massacre. Let me tell you, I hadn't seen this movie in a long time, probably since the early 90s. This movie's good. First of all, you get boobies and a murder within minutes.
Very nice.
Quality on both sides.
Checking off 2 boxes right there.
Already it's like, all right, we're in. The best part, the amount of nudity is amazing in this movie. If you're a tactical masturbator, this could be your kind of movie.
Tactical?
What does that mean?
You're going to have to figure it out. I'm creating something new. But as I watch it, I just go, tactical masturbator could actually really do some damage in this movie. If this spreads online, I started this.
I think we just heard the title of your next book.
That's his biography.
That's my biography. You get rubber gloves to read
your mop production business.
So this is a surprising. First of all, it's very exploitive for women. It's written by a woman and directed by a woman. So I was like, oh, well, then we can't really complain because they did it. I've read that it was meant to be a comedy, but then they went full on horror. It has for a cast of people that you really never saw again. They're pretty solid. So the acting's pretty cool. What they do differently here is you see who the killer is right away. There is no mystery. He's like some nearly 40-year-old dude in a jean jacket with a giant drill, it's kind of cool. There's no mystery.
Is that supposed to mean something?
No, we all wore jean jackets around.
No. The giant drill. The killer has a giant drill at the Slumber Party Massacre.
There are moments where it's pure phallus. Because, I mean, it's shot from like between his legs and, he's drilling people. It's funny.
I got to watch this.
You never saw this?
I thought I had, but I'm looking at it now and hearing you talk about it. I don't know if I have.
It's nonstop. So you know how like the other movie that I reviewed, have just had these bits. You just like, oh my god, please can we get to the killing? I can't take this much bad acting, this
Mhm.
many minutes in a row. This has none of that. There is zero filler in this movie.
I
All
just saw it's like
driller, no
76
filler.
minutes.
All driller, no filler.
It's free on Prime, so I just added it.
It is so damn
Oh, you
good, and
got. I haven't seen it since when it came out too. So
yeah, and it's a
But-
whopping 1 hour and 16 minutes.
see now this could be a potential double feature because Slumber Party Massacre 2, isn't that the crazy funny one with the like guy with the big hair and that like guitar drill or something like that?
Oh, that might be. And there's a 2 and a 3.
I think it's 2. One
Might
of them.
be-
It's like way over the top.
We might
I'm
be
gonna tell
figuring
you-
out our movies for next week.
Yeah, this movie came out in like 82 or whatever, right on the cusp of everyone's just cranking them out. This is not like the cookie cutter one. It seems it, but it isn't. It's one of the better ones. And I'm thinking, I might actually buy that. If I found it on Blu-ray, I would buy it.
Wow.
Well, as a tactician, I would imagine you'd need it in your arsenal.
You need it, definitely. You got to go in with a plan. Got to be tactical about it.
The
Strategy.
the first 2 are on Prime, so I'm going to check these out.
Oh, I got to watch the second one now.
I think we should do a double feature.
Maybe we should. Let's discuss that for next week.
A double D feature.
Well,
All
that's
right.
good. Boy, it's so funny. You're hitting like these movies, and I've been thinking about watching that one too because I want to go back. Ever since we've recently been going back to these old ones and going, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm reliving my youth right now.
Here's the thing about the Oscars. So I went to the movie theater, and every year I like to go see the animated short films that are nominated. If I can get to it, I like to see the short documentaries, and I like to see the live action shorts that are nominated.
Mhm.
And I see a wide variety of things, different topics, and all that. And so you see some great stuff. This year's live action short films blew me away because when you sit in the theater and watch these movies, they start and some are like a couple of minutes long and some are like 15, 20 minutes long. And you never know where they're going. They start off with one thing and then suddenly it's like, oh, this is about a kid who plays the violin and it's some beautiful story, or oh, this is about somebody with Alzheimer's, or this is about inner city, blah, blah. You never know. It's going to be funny, sad, touching. Am I going to learn something? Am I going to laugh? Whatever. And usually, because they're such nominated movies, they're all good in their own way, but some are going to be more your sweet spot than others. This year, I think it's like 4 out of the 5 of them are all pretty dark in tone and mostly involve like children in danger and at risk, and they don't all have happy endings. So
Not like
All right.
Robert Kraft.
yeah,
Children in danger.
So
Happy endings.
the first one is called Madre, and I can't remember what country it's from, but it's all one take, and it's only like, let's call it 10 minutes long, something like that. And it's basically a mother and her mother on a phone, and her 6-year-old son calls up and he is lost, and all he is it's like is I'm at a beach somewhere like in France, and it's like the mother just like assessing the situation, and the kid just doesn't know where he is, and then a lot of things start happening. It is freaking amazing. It's such a good movie, and the tension from just a woman talking on the phone and to her mother, it was spectacular. I was like, wow,
Really?
that was really good.
And it's Madre.
Madre.
That means maid in Spanish, correct?
The next one I'm probably going to mispronounce. Fauve, Fauve. This is 2 kids. This was not in English. They're playing around in the countryside. They're like horsing around in like an abandoned train, and they're like messing with each other. They're whacking each other with sticks. They're like playing tricks on each other, like, made you look. And like one kid pushes the other one off the train. And he like falls. I'm like, oh, are you hurt? And all that. And then it takes a dark turn because they go to like this, like kind of a construction area. And I'm not going to give away anything else, but just to say, I didn't expect what happened to happen. So again, and when it was unfolding, I'm just like, again, I'm like, well, where's this going? What's the twist going to be on this? And it's like, newt dark.
I think I've watched 4 short films in my lifetime.
You
Really?
should get out more.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of shorts. I don't
You
know
know,
why.
the short movies you watch are probably more tactical than what I'm talking
They're
about.
very tactical.
The next one, quickly, was called Detainment. This was my favorite one. There was a case in London, in England, Liverpool, I believe it was, from the 90s, where 2 like 10-year-old boys kidnapped and murdered like a 4-year-old kid
Mm.
named James Bulger. And
Jesus.
there are tapes of these 2 kids being interrogated by the police over a couple of days. And the movie is basically people acting out the tapes. And it is, first of all, I didn't know the story. So again, there's 2 kids hacking around in the mall, like, and I'm like, what is this going to be about? Kids getting caught shoplifting or something? Is this going to be funny? Whatever. And the darkest of all of them.
Yeah, no, not funny at all.
Not funny at all. I ended up looking up this case on YouTube, watching some stuff, and just was like horrified by this. So there's a lot of controversy around this movie too. This one's called Detainment. I would highly recommend watching this. I thought it was really good.
Where are you finding these?
I went to the theater and they showed the Oscar nominated. Like I said, I went to an animated one day, and I went to the live action shorts another day. But if you look up the Oscar nominated films, some of them might be on Netflix now. You might have to scour around, and I can email you the list too. The one that won the Academy Award is called Skin, and the blonde girl who was also pregnant in Bird Box is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the lead guy I recognize, but I can't remember what he's in. I'd have to look him up. But it's basically about they're not skinheads, but they're kind of like white supremacist rednecks who shoot a lot of guns and
MAGA hat wearing mother effers.
Okay. But what happens in this movie? The main guy has a son, and he's clearly influencing his son to be like him. So he's all the negative things that this guy feels, or he's basically brainwashing his son to be a white supremacist, bad person. But then there's a twist in this movie that takes it in another direction, and it's almost Twilight Zone-ish. It's not supernatural at all, but it had that ending that just like made it like oh wow,
Right.
that I can see why it won the Academy Award. It was really good. So ordinary, like I said, every year these movies are like, I saw one last year that was about like kids in Aleppo during like bombings and stuff like that, or people being rescued out of boats in the Mediterranean, like all these different subjects. This year was all like, well, we got to do something for the horror fans out there, so let's throw some dark stuff in there. I really enjoyed all of these. So there was one more that was not dark at all. I'm not going to talk about that one.
All right, screw that one.
So
Okay.
all right.
Jeez, that's a lot of movies.
After Jack Shorts.
But it was only like they were short. Okay, Jason, you done?
Me,
One
I've
more?
only talked about one thing.
What, are you kidding? Yeah.
Are you guys done?
I just have one. That'll be quick.
All right, I'll blast through 2 of mine and save the last. This will be real fast. I rewatched Demon Knight because it turns out my buddy's wife's, when we watched Overlord, said, this is a lot like Demon Knight. It reminds me of that. Turns out my buddy had not seen Demon Knight, so we rewatched it.
We should do an episode just on that.
Yeah, it's almost like we did. It's weird. God damn. I mean, you want to talk about a hell of a double feature? Overlord into Demon Knight? Just, God. Practical effects city, tons of gore. Jada Pinkett Smith killing it. If you want to know more about this, go listen to our whole episode. I love this movie. It's one of my favorites, and it's a 90s classic.
So says you.
Hey, shut your... Then I watched Horror Noir, A History of Black Horror on Shudder.
Oh, that's on my to-do
Yeah,
list.
I wanted to know how that was.
This was a tough one, because if there's something that aggravates me, it's listening to PhDs talk about horror movies and give them significance they don't have.
Right.
And 2 of the people who talk the most during this movie are PhDs, just annoying me. But you have Keith David in here. I want to hear Keith David. I want to hear more Tony Todd.
Right.
I want to hear all these actors who were in all these iconic 80s and 90s films and what they have to say. Got Ken Foray, for Christ's sake. Like, let the man
Exactly.
speak. I don't want to hear these PhDs. So every time those guys were talking, I'm enraptured. I'm loving it. I'm learning some stuff about some movies I didn't know. They went into a lot of exploitation films that I haven't seen. So that was cool. And then, when I start having to hear about other shit, I'm just like, oh, whatever. And it got political and very social justice-y at times. So if that's your thing, you're really going to dig it. If that's not your thing, it's going to annoy you a bit. So I was very middle of the road on it. A lot of people told me how much they loved it. Some awesome stuff in there, and some, whatever. I could have left that out. But definitely worth a watch, because you're going to learn a lot about some movies that you probably haven't seen.
That when I watch things like that, I always sit there with a pad and a pen. And I just start, when I hear those movies, all right, I got to find that. I got to find that. I got to find that.
Yeah, it's like talking about like Blackenstein or something like that. Like, I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that. So
I've never seen it. I know of it, but I've never.
So they went into all kinds of stuff like that. So that was really cool. So yeah, it's one of those things that I'm like, oh, this is great. This is great. Oh, you said problematic for the fourth time. Like, stop.
I'll just take my little 30-second naps when the PhDs come on.
Yeah. So, know when it's time to get up and take a piss and get some food.
Yeah. All right. Good warning.
All right, I got one more, but I'll save it here.
All right. After Slumber Party Massacre, I watched Sorority House Massacre.
Speaking of tactical masturbation.
Now this movie is what you think a crappy slasher should be. So this has a girl going to a sorority house, and she's having some weird kind of flashbacks. You think maybe there's some connection to the house. Meanwhile, there's a dude in a mental asylum who he's freaking out. And it turns out that he and her, and I don't care, I'm going to spoil this because this is from 1988. They were brother and sister, and he murdered the whole family and tried to kill her. So it's a definite Halloween ripoff. The acting is so bad, so bad. I'm
so surprised to hear that.
God, it's very 80s. At one point, when there's like 4 of the girls in the place to themselves, the sorority has to go, oh, let's go try on Sydney's clothes. And there's a whole clothes changing montage with one bad 80s jumpsuit after another. But nudity, of course, lots of nudity. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And they're the 4 girls. They cast 4 of the ugliest guys they could possibly have as their love interests, including one guy who's like a hobbit. So I'm like just going, these have to be all relatives of the producers,
Mm-hmm.
But if you ever want to see a couple get hacked to death while making love in a teepee in a yard, I mean, this might check a box off.
Sounds like you were really doing some deep dives on Prime this weekend.
I have been. When I'm not watching Shameless and what's that comedy show I'm watching right now? Crashing, which is very good.
Oh, is that good?
The Pete Holmes show? Yeah, it's funny sometimes. Sometimes you just cringe your ass off. Like, oh, shut up.
Pete Holmes is a riot.
Yeah. But There we go.
All right. Well, my last thing was Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr., based on your semi-recommendation.
Well, yeah. I hope you saw it the same way I did.
When you're reading it, you're like, man, this idea is so ahead of its time. This spaceship under the ground that's thousands of years old, and this alien that's living and imitated. It was so far ahead of its time. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about when this guy wrote this book, that he had this idea. But damn, is it not good to read?
It's who talks and thinks like this?
Yeah, the dialogue is atrocious. The action it doesn't exist. So I don't want to trash it too much. I mean, it's a genius idea, and it spawned my favorite movie probably ever. And it's old. That's the other thing. It's like, you have to kind of adapt to the time it was written. But there's a reason this is not taught.
That's weird because he wrote it in the 30s, and nobody wrote like that in the 30s.
There's a reason when people talk about the all-time classics, they don't point to this, even though it's created some of the best horror films.
Yeah,
because it's a little rough.
Well, let me ask you a question.
It's short though.
Let me ask you a question along those lines. I've never read an H.P. Lovecraft book.
Mm-hmm.
What time frame was he writing?
20s to
To the
40s?
40s? Something like that.
I think 20s to 40s, something like
And
that.
when you read his stuff, how does it?
That's
flow?
different.
Yeah, he has a really weird style, and he has almost no dialogue.
It's blocks of exposition.
Yeah, it's actually, his stuff's hard to read too, but not because it's poorly written. It's just his style's really weird. I actually would really recommend, if you're interested, to listen to audiobooks of him. There's a whole bunch of free ones on YouTube that are great. Wayne June stuff with H.P. Lovecraft on YouTube, if you can find some, which I'm pretty sure there is phenomenal, and it's the way to get through his stuff. It's much easier than trying to read it on your own.
It's not frustrating when Campbell's book is frustrating because I'm reading the way these characters are talking to each other. I'm like, this is not possible. Nobody on Earth has ever spoken like this before.
It's almost like they were aliens already.
There's a new version coming out that has, I think, 30 or 60 lost pages, which is stuff that is more in the beginning. Like, we need it.
Okay.
But whatever. You did it. If you love the thing, you have to read it.
I don't regret reading it because I like seeing where these things come from, but it's not high on my list.
No, I'll never read it again.
Awesome. All right, is that everything?
That's it.
Yep.
All right, main feature, roll it.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
All right, Tumbbad. This is an Indian movie from last year. It's kind of a horror fable.
Fable. I like that.
Hunter,
Yeah.
give us a little recap of this movie synopsis.
I knew I was going to get this.
Well,
and I
you
was not
picked the
prepared.
movie.
I know.
Captain
I know,
Vindaloo.
I know. I heard Captain Vindaloo. At least he didn't call me Captain Curry because that would be racist.
Come on, Stefan Curry.
This is kind of a mini epic. This is a movie that spans 30 years, something right around there.
3 decades.
Yeah.
But it starts with this legend of this prosperity god who, I don't know, some crap happened. They wanted to kind of bury the prosperity god, but this town has kind of resurrected it. And so if you can go into this kind of well and steal gold coins out of the butthole or loincloth of this god, and if you get out alive, you're going to do pretty well. And it's a movie about greed. So it's the greed of a particular family. So it starts with the mother caring for a guy who's got this whole greed thing going, and then it passes on to her son, who becomes a real kind of schmuck because he's more about the money than anything else. And it has some weird stuff, man. I mean, this is not an American viewing experience. And I wasn't really acquainted with the god that they were talking about, and I could not understand any of the names. I couldn't follow the names. So I was like, oh, I know who that is. I can see who that is. So it's very different. I'm glad that I got us to watch this. Exposes us to something different. And I think there's some really cool stuff in this and some not some cool things in it. But that's Tumbbad. Tumbbad. Too bad.
All right. Jason, what'd you think?
Shockingly, I liked this movie. I wasn't super excited when you recommended this, Hunter, because I've actually seen quite a few Bollywood movies, and I just cannot stand them.
Oh, there was no dancing in this.
The music and the way they're shot and just the whole thing, it's not my bag. This worked for me, except the music, which we'll get on later. The music was so hysterical.
Yeah.
But I actually thought this worked pretty well. I dug it the whole time. I thought the imagery, except for the CG, was killer. The lighting was amazing. Cool looking sets. I was pretty into it. I actually liked it a lot more than I expected.
Wow. I'm loving this.
Yep.
I was expecting a total prison rape tonight,
I mean, it's not my top 10 list, but I liked it.
right.
No,
All right.
listen, I also enjoyed it, and when I heard what we were doing, I was like, oh God.
Me too.
And then I had a lot going on, so I didn't have a lot of time to even argue. I'm like,
Did you say, oh God, or oh Hostar?
oh Hostar.
You're describing me. I saw what he what he suggested, and I didn't reply for a while because I was furiously looking for something to watch on Google to like counterbalance it. I just couldn't find anything.
Well, then you say you're going to watch Slumber Party Massacre. I'm like, why aren't we just doing that movie?
Yeah, seriously.
That's like my throwaway movie too. So funny.
I think part of the reason that this worked for me was, there's some CG that's borderline sci-fi channel level, but they did the lighting so well in that it helped. And also, I think because this movie was subtitled and in a different kind of culture, it helped me buy this. I think that if this was in English, it would have just been kind of a sci-fi channel. But the acting, as far as I can tell, was good. But I'm reading subtitles, and like I said, I kind of viewed this as a fable or fairy tale, cautionary tale kind of thing.
Yep, exactly what it is.
So for that, I thought it was a good presentation of it, and I was engaged the whole time. There was definitely some laughable parts, like the music. We can get into that, but overall, it's like, oh, you know what? This is kind of like the benefit of watching, as guys who watch a billion horror movies and the ups and downs. This is like, oh, I just saw something. Foreign films can be torture to get through because you don't know. They could be slow, they could be boring, they could be weird, and sometimes you get something like a Terrifier that's like, one of the best things you've ever seen. And you get this, it's like, oh, you know what? This is cool, and I kind of get insight into another culture and an entertaining movie. So overall, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I like the fact that it wasn't over 2 hours long.
Oh yeah,
which something like this could have easily gone very long. And I heard that the original version is maybe 2.5 hours.
If this was a minute longer.
On Amazon, or not, on Amazon. On Wikipedia, it says it was 200-minute cut. 200 minutes. They cut it down to 100.
So we're missing stuff.
And obviously, you could tell the pacing at times is a little weird. Like when they would jump through the guy's aging or his rich to wealthy status, the whole thing, there were giant jumps. And there were characters who just kind of disappeared, like the American guy.
Oh my God, what was that about?
There was some weird storyline about somebody becoming an opium kingpin or something, and that just went away.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stuff you could tell was cut out. But to be honest, I didn't care about that crap anyway. So I'm sure if they'd been able to cut those storylines out entirely, they would have. So, I actually think it was stronger. If this movie was 3.5 hours, there's no way.
No,
because they took just enough time with each. So you had the main character when he's a kid with his mother, and he sort of is introduced to this myth or whatever, or this thing. They live in this, like,
because his grandmother is
cursed by it.
Yeah.
Basically, the premise is this goddess gave birth to like a million gods, but the first god
was their
like
favorite.
the god of greed or something like that. And then
he was the Loki of the group.
And then he was banished, and he was to be banished and not worshipped anymore. And he was housed in her womb. And it turns out her womb is like the basement, the well in this building.
Roomy.
And it looks like remember the taste buds from like the commercial back in the
No.
Yes. You're gonna remember the taste bud guys?
Yes.
Like it looks like the inside of a mouth in like a dentist commercial or something.
Or a
like
womb.
It's a womb.
There's a lot of womb in here to move around.
I thought it looked like Satan's asshole.
And basically,
could be that too.
The mother's like, don't talk to your cursed grandmother. If she does, you say this thing that'll put her to sleep. And don't talk about the gold or anything. Well, if the kid wants to know about it, he ends up finding out, and he finds the womb in the well, talks to the grandmother, all that. And then he figures out that he can go down there and trick the god and distract us so he can steal the gold. So then you go from like actually he learns about it but doesn't find it when he's a kid. But then when he's an adult, he goes back, and that's where he starts to be able to get the gold. But he can only get a little at a time. So he has to keep going back.
By the way, how cool was it when he says to his grandmother, there's a tree growing out of you?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I thought that looked really cool.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of Apostle.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. I have to mention the music. They'll show a cool scene where this guy crawls down and fights this demon for gold and barely escapes, and then they cut to him spending the money. And there's the worst music you've ever heard, where they're just singing exactly what just happened in the previous scene, and
Yes.
describing it. It's like,
Yeah, it's all like, oh, you are so greedy, and what you do is going to be bad, and it's just
But again, that's another culture. That's why I was letting that slide.
it's a lot of why I don't care for Indian films.
But it's funny. You
fortunately,
probably wouldn't have minded
minimal.
if you didn't see if you didn't see everything, the graphics going past. They're like, oh, whatever.
It was a thing that it was there, but
And if you don't like a movie where you see kids just get slapped a lot by their parents, this is gonna bug the crap out of you.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to mention. The kids get the shit kicked out of them in this movie.
The casual child abuse.
Yeah, and they're not pulling slaps. It looks like on these kids. It looks like they just straight up slap the child actors.
I know, for anything.
Yeah, sometimes it's pretty shocking. There was that, and all the female characters are just treated like absolute trash in this movie.
Yep.
It's just a dumpster fire in that regard of mistresses and
Yeah. And for all we know, it's accurate.
I have no idea. Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I don't know what cast they're depicting and what it was like at that time, but
by the
not
way,
a good time to be a woman.
The chat room has come through. The Taste Buds was a Bud Light commercial.
Ah, there you go.
See, we knew they'd figure it out.
I actually really liked, so in the third generation, he's now an older man and he's got a kid. And the kid, he's training him because now he's getting too old to do all this physical exertion. He's got to climb a rope and escape this monster.
Climb a rope,
god.
pull a loincloth, and climb back up the rope.
Yeah. So he's training his kid, and the kid is goes like, oh, we got to get more gold, and is just super duper fired up, and you could see the greed in his eyes. I thought that kid was outstanding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did too.
I actually thought all the acting was good, as best I could tell. Nothing ever pulled me out of it.
No.
Like sometimes you're watching an Asian movie and the acting gets very over dramatic. It's like, oh god, but I never noticed anything like that in this.
Yeah, this isn't a Steve Barnard classic. This is something else.
Disembodied buttholes or
There's
whatever. There's
sexy nurse zombies in the womb instead of a lich.
What did you guys think of the thing of the god that they would go in there?
That's why I called it a lich. It was the Iron Maiden guy.
I thought it was kind of cool looking.
Yeah, I did too.
Kind of crawl around the walls, and I like that you kind of give it a cake. Hey, here's a man cake. Go eat that while I go.
You have the gingerbread man from Shrek.
Oh no!
Yeah, the only thing that really hurt those scenes was the CGI was not great, but I think you're right, Jack, and they lit it in a way that it wasn't the worst.
Yeah, make it dark.
Yeah.
And it was all red. So you had red on red, so there wasn't a chance for it to pop too much and stand out.
Yeah, I really thought the lighting in this was beautiful. Scenes where guys are going walking through caves, kind of crawling, with the woman who turns into the tree and all that. It looked fantastic. It really did.
One of the great things about this movie is just that it's so different.
Yeah.
Then, like I said, I think Apostle is the closest thing you could get to this.
To
and
be
that
honest,
movie's totally different than this, except there's a few common horror elements to it.
I might have liked this more than Apostle, to be honest. I know that sounds crazy, but I think I did.
It's close with me.
Yeah, it also helped that I had zero expectations for this, and Apostle I had a lot of expectations, so gauge that how you will. But for a free Prime movie that we decided on 2 hours before I watched it a day ago, can't complain.
That movie, it was made for the equivalent of $705,000.
That's insane. That's impressive.
It's 50 million crore in India, but it's not even $1 million. So that's why the CGI looks the way it looks. But there were some genuinely, I thought there were moments I was like, oh, kind of creeped me out. And I got tense. Anytime they went in that well, I got tense.
Yeah. And I don't even think we need to spoil it, but I thought they did a good job with a bit of a twist at the end that
Oh,
I
that
didn't
was
see
so funny.
coming. I thought that was really clever, and I dug it.
Yeah, you know what, Jack? Earlier you talked about a Twilight Zone. That was Twilight Zone-y. That ending, that kind of like, ha. That's what you get for hubris.
Yeah. And the whole undertone of greed, and particularly with the main character, just how greedy he is, and they tell you right at the beginning of the movie, you're a greedy piece of shit. And
Yes, I am, mother.
that's who he was the whole movie.
Yeah, his character arc.
Yeah.
One line.
None. He just is old enough to have sex later on in the movie. Otherwise, he's exactly the same.
And when he's older, he didn't seem much older than he was in the middle part of his life.
He aged very well.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
He just couldn't really climb a rope anymore.
That's hard stuff, man. I can't remember the last time I climbed a rope.
I wouldn't want to try now.
Yeah, I disagree with you guys on the on this being almost better than The Apostle. I think The Apostle is a way better movie than this. But I think this is a good movie because when like I said before, it's like a morality tale. I honestly feel like this is like a B level horror movie. It's very enjoyable, but it's very simple. And like I said, it's kind of fairy tale-ish. So it's a whole different kind of mindset that I could accept some of the special effects and the hokiness of it because it was like a morality tale. So I was watching like this must be, I don't know if this is based on a story or an actual myth or something like that, but whatever it was a morality play from that culture that I was watching. So I was accepting it on that level.
Right.
Whereas,
well, Apostle's like the white privilege version of this movie.
Oh, Jesus.
White privilege.
Did you read your social justice manual before the episode started?
I always do.
Just perusing it.
I have flashcards. I have an assistant flashes them over here. Right. Tactical masturbation. Right. That thing. Okay.
Yeah, that definitely needs to be added to the manual.
Just preparing for next week's show.
So listen, overall, I'd recommend this. This is exactly the kind of thing when you're surfing around looking for something decent to watch. You can't go wrong with this one. Just be ready for reading subtitles and a little bit of weirdness.
And the subtitles are uneven because sometimes they flash by so fast. You're like, well, I don't know what the hell that just was.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
I will say one thing I like about watching these foreign movies every now and then is it really forces me to focus on the movie because you can't check, oh, I got a message on Twitter. Let me see what that is. Can't do that or you lose whole sections of the movie. So
although sometimes you miss what's going on up here because you're looking down at the words.
True, too.
It could definitely be hiding poor acting that I wouldn't have noticed.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think all three of us watched this and I didn't really see any bad acting in here. So
not that I saw.
I'll tell you, that little kid was really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get the shit slapped out of you for half the movie, you get it right.
These kids are all going to be like NFL players.
If they're doing that, if they're doing that when the camera's rolling, what the hell are they doing to those kids when the cameras aren't on?
Exactly.
They're just
There's a great moment in this movie where the kid does something that really pisses off the father and puts them both in danger. But he has an idea. And the father goes from being really pissed at him to like going, huh.
Yeah.
That's like a great idea.
Yeah, well, it hit him right in the old family jewels where he wanted more jewels.
Yeah, the greed took over right there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a perfect non-character arc that worked very well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at that. See, we all kind of liked it.
Go check it out on Amazon Prime. It's not all that long. Thank God. If it was 3.5 hours, oh my God.
No, it's like an
I
hour.
thought this was
minutes.
like 2 minutes longer. It would have been too long. So they nailed it.
It was right on that jagged line.
Yeah.
For you.
Like
even where they ended it, it was just okay. Movie's over.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot going on after it that you needed to see where people went or what happened. It was just, no, we're done here.
Yep.
It was good.
Now I can go to the bathroom without missing a thing.
All right, so we haven't decided what we're doing next week, but we'll post something on Facebook and Twitter when we decide.
Because we're not going to the movies to watch Greta. So if you're looking forward to Greta, go find another show that's going to do Greta.
Yeah.
Because it ain't going to be us.
If you happen to go see Greta, you can come back and report. If we all happen to go see it, I don't really see me doing that, but
watch I go see it.
I'd never heard of it until an hour ago, so I probably won't go see that.
Greta. Because then soon we have Captain Marvel. If you guys were going to do a comic book movie, which I will watch that one.
Oh, I'm definitely going to that. I don't know if I
Come
want to talk. I don't know if I want you in the room when we do that one.
I'm a Brie Larson fan. She's my favorite actress.
But you're also a jerk. So I mean,
you know what? I'm not an infant playing around with fucking Thanos faction figures. All right, there.
Okay, Elvira.
You have a Wonder Woman picture behind you right now. I can see it.
It was a gift from a child, so it's here.
All right.
I also have a Cody Simpson.
All his Funko dolls burst behind him.
Remember, Jack, when we did a Monster Man and we did like a big life-size cutout of a guy?
Yeah, you did. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so this is Cody Simpson, who was a singer. My daughter loves him.
Is that your tactical action figure?
I tactically masturbate.
It is right beside his desk.
In fact, look at his hand. That's custom made.
For the love of God.
Okay, so hey, the other big news though, Jason has informed us that we are now on Spotify.
Yes,
that's correct.
So we are in the big time now, folks.
Spread the word.
That's right. And if you tell your Echo to play Final Guys Horror Podcast, you can listen to us on your Amazon Echo.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So we're on iTunes, YouTube. What are some of the other platforms we're on?
Pretty much everywhere. Google Play, Libsyn, Stitcher. Yeah, everywhere. We look like shit. We sound like shit, but we are available everywhere.
How dare you mock us, you son of a bitch. Oh, that's awesome. I should go learn what Spotify is, and I'll be really psyched.
Yeah. And go talk to us on Twitter. That's where we talk to everyone.
Yeah, we answer everybody.
Just tell us what you thought of Tumbbad.
Was it Tum good or Tum bad?
And give us movie recommendations, really. This time of year, we struggle with trying to figure out what the hell to watch. It's just, it can be a bit of a ghost land with some of these movies.
We reserve the right to not watch the movie that you recommend,
we
would love to hear it.
Yeah, we're most likely not going to pick what you say, but you might surprise us.
We're just waiting for us at this point. We're just killing time until us comes.
We are. We're doing My Bloody Valentine and an Indian film at this point.
Yeah.
We need some releases.
I suggested Polar. Nobody listens.
I already forgot what you said about it.
He said it was good.
Okay.
We should watch it.
All right. Well, that sounds like a show to me, fellas. So,
or some facsimile.
Exactly. All right. So everybody have a tactical week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.